Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off the Bat, where we're doing an OOTP video today. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what if the Mets managed to sign A-Rod in 2001. Now, obviously, in 2001, A-Rod was thinking about going to the Mets, and he definitely regrets his decision of going to the Rangers. So we're going to see what would happen if he went to the Mets. Now, this was actually requested. This was a requested video, and it's from Gregory Durant. So thank you so much for the support, Gregory. And yeah, this video is for you. All right, so right here we are in free agency, and as you can see, it is 2000, is the year 2000, November 19th. So Alex Rodriguez is a free agent. So I'm controlling the Mets right now, and I'm going to make sure he gets signed. I'm playing on commissioner mode, so I could force him to be signed. And I just want to show you all that under manager options, I have my bench coach and assistant GM doing all of the work. So basically, it's just like I'm just looking at this. I'm just observing how his career would have went if he went to the Mets. So I'm just going to override him in free agency, and then I'm just going to sit back and we're going to watch what happens. All right, it is official. Alex Rodriguez is on the Mets. Now, his contract doesn't really matter because we are in commissioner mode, but I just gave what he asked for. It was $16 million in 2001, slowly going up until 2005, where it's $26 million. He's got a player opt-out option, and then he's got I think 5 more seasons here. So that's his contract right there, and we're gonna see how he plays his career out on the Mets. He's 25 years old, as he was in 2001, and let's just see how it plays out. Now, as you can see from this point, he's already spent some time on the Seattle Mariners, and you can see he's won some awards. He's won the Platinum Stick a couple times. He's a 4-time AL All-Star. Now he's in the NL though. He was the AL Most Valuable Player in 2000, so that's just last year. See if he could win more of those. And he won some more Platinum Sticks there. So definitely already a pretty legendary career, and he's only 25, so it's only going up from here. Now these are his real stats from these seasons. Obviously, pretty awesome stats there. And let's see if he'll keep it up. He's a 4.5-star player with 5-star potential. All right, so we are now at the All-Star break. The team is 45 and 43, and obviously this is 2001, the first year. And Alex Rodriguez is now a 5-time All-Star overall, including 1 NL All-Star, which is this year. So that's kind of cool. The All-Star game's today, and I'm just going to see you guys at the end of the season. All right, and the season is now over. As you can see, Alex Rodriguez played in 159 games. He had a .313 batting average, which is amazing. As you can see right here, he had 46 home runs, which I believe is a career high. It is. Last year, he actually had 163 RBIs. This year, he dropped down to 130, but that's still a lot of RBIs. He had a .416 on base percentage and a 10.4 WAR. So definitely legendary numbers already. And let's see if he could replicate that next season. Now, as you can see here in the MLB standings, the team didn't really make the playoffs. It was a very, very tough division. You see most of the teams in the division are already at 500, and the Phillies are 494, and these 5 teams were all at 500 for most of the season, so definitely tough to make the playoffs there. The Expos end up making it, and we're going to see who wins the championship. So, interestingly, the Atlanta Braves beat the Seattle Mariners in 7 games in the 2001 World Series. Now, you have to wonder if A-Rod stayed in Seattle, maybe they would have actually won the World Series and gotten their first championship in this simulation. But obviously, for this simulation, he's on the Mets, so we're just going to see how his career plays out there. All right, we are entering year 2 of this simulation, and as you can see, the Mets are projected in the preseason predictions to be the worst team in the NL East Division. But we have to wait and see because this is just a projection, and some of these could be completely wrong. So you never know. So we are now at the All-Star break, and as you can see, the preseason predictions were definitely wrong. But we're actually leading the division. The Mets are, and the Phillies are actually 5 games behind, so it's definitely a really close division, as I mentioned before. All the teams are at 500, so definitely a close race. Only half a game behind are the Atlanta Braves, so you got to watch out. It's going to be close coming down the stretch, but we're going to have to see who ends up making the playoffs. So it remained a really close division throughout. As you can see, the New York Mets took a bit of a step back. The Atlanta Braves kind of ran away with it, and they won the division. Now, as you can see, the Montreal Expos are actually going to make the wild card game. as you can see right here in the NL wildcard, and we are actually tied with the San Francisco Giants for the second wildcard spot. So after we play against Atlanta, this is a huge game here because this could determine whether we make the wildcard or not. So I'm just going to simulate this game here, and we end up losing. So as you can see here, we are actually eliminated from the playoffs, from the wild card. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for us. But we're gonna see how the next season plays out. Or first, I'm gonna simulate the playoffs. Now, in real life, the Diamondbacks won their first World Series in 2001, but in this simulation, they end up winning it in 2002. So pretty accurate there. And obviously, before that was our own division, the Atlanta Braves, making it to the championship. So in this time, they got beaten in the first round by the champion Arizona Diamondbacks. So we're in the offseason, and Alex Rodriguez ended up winning his second MVP award. It is the NL Most Valuable Player. So now he has one for the AL and the NL, which is really cool. He's 27 years old, and we are about to enter season number 3 in 2003. All right, so we have reached the end of the 2003 season, and this was actually a step back for A-Rod. He hit only 282, which is still pretty good, but not as good as he was hitting before. He had 118 RBIs and 38 homers, so still putting up some pretty good numbers, but unfortunately the team was just not playing very well this season. They were 67 and 95, so while the playoffs, they were 5th in their division. Here were the division standings right there. You see the Florida Marlins were 21 games behind. Phillies kind of ran away with it that year. The Braves didn't make the playoffs either. And yeah, let's just sim through the playoffs now. So the Diamondbacks actually go back to back here. So the preseason predictions have the Mets at 76 and 86. So another losing season as the prediction. Not too bad though, and we saw what could happen. The preseason predictions are not always going to be right. And now we're just going to enter the 2004 season and see how it goes. So it was another season to forget for New York. They only won 69 games on the season, and A-Rod actually decreased in overall according to OSA. He's only 4 stars right here, and 4-star potential, so I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe he's increasing in age at 29, but should be around his prime right now. And let's see how he did this season. He hit 282, which was exactly the same as last season, actually. He had 111 RBIs, which was worse than last season, but he had more home runs. He had 46 homers, which is obviously pretty good, great. And he's very durable. You see his Ironman injury proneness, and he played 160 games this season. So definitely a durable player, and he hasn't made the playoffs yet on the Mets, so we're still looking for that to happen. But other than that, he's winning awards. He's making the All-Star team. So he's been making it every single year since he joined the Mets. You see, he's got 8, I think. Yeah, he's got 8 All-Star appearances. If you go to history, he's 8-time All-Star, 6-time best hitter at position. He's a 2-time MVP. In real life, he got 3, so we'll see if he gets one more, just like in real life. 4-time batter of the month and 4-time player of the week. So definitely great individual stats, but we'll see if the team could catch up and win some more games. All right, so we have now reached the 2005 All-Star break. The New York Mets are 39 and 49, so definitely need a good comeback in the second half of the season to get back into the playoff race. And as you can see, Alex Rodriguez has not made an All-Star team this year, so it's his first time since I believe 1996. Yes, 1996 was the last time. 1995 was the last time he missed the All-Star break, and so that's not very good for him. He's 3.5 stars. But throughout the season so far, he's hitting 263. He's got 94 RBIs projected, which is actually really good. He's got 51 right now, and he's got 16 home runs. So definitely having a pretty good season statistically, but not as good as he had before. And as you can see, there's a young Jose Bautista on this team too. We got a good closer. Looks like a pretty decent team. So hopefully they turn it around in the second half of the season. All right, so the season has now ended in 2005, and we went 67 and 94. So not as good as last season, but we were 4th in our division. The Phillies, surprisingly, who actually made the playoffs last year, dipped down to below our record at 66 and 95. And you have the Braves winning again. So the Braves are definitely a really good team this simulation. And I noticed that the Mariners, maybe if Rodriguez stayed, he would have made the playoffs a few times more with the Mariners. But obviously the simulation, he is on the Mets. And I'm not sure if if they trade him or he signs somewhere else. Obviously, that's his decision in the simulation. But we're just gonna see, what happened if he signed in 2001. So, he hasn't made the playoffs yet with the Mets, which is kind of concerning. But his statistical performances have been good. Let's look at how his stats were this season. He's 3.5 stars right now. Obviously, third base and shortstop. So in this season, oh sorry, we have to play this last game against Colorado to end, and we end up winning. So actually, we finished with 68 wins. So right here, he had 292. He had 35 homers, 91 RBIs. So definitely really good numbers. Definitely All-Star worthy. So I'm not sure why he didn't make it this year, but obviously a step down from all his previous years. Besides the batting average, which actually went up compared to the last couple years. But let's just see who wins the championship in 2005, and hopefully the Mets turn it up and make the playoffs in the near future. And so Tampa Bay actually ends up beating the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. Now it's interesting because the Tampa Bay Rays have actually never won a World Series in real life, so this would be their first one. And I noticed that the Braves have actually made the World Series quite a few times in the simulation, but have lost like pretty much every time. So kind of concerning for them that they keep making it there and losing. But obviously, it's even better to make it there than to do what we're doing and just missing the playoffs every time. So hopefully they could turn it up now, the Mets, and maybe get a good signing here. It is now December of 2005, and I just wanted to point out that the Mets made a huge signing in Carlos Beltran. So they got a superstar on the squad. You could see he has a broken elbow, so 2 months out with the injury, but it's only December, so he should be fine for when the season starts. And as you can see, Alex Rodriguez is definitely down there now in terms of overall. We got some good players on this roster, so could be a playoff to me. It looks like a definite playoff contender to me. So let's just see how it plays out. So we are now at the All-Star break in the year 2006, and it's looking good for the Mets so far. They're actually 3.5 games ahead of their division. They're 48 and 41, so this could be the year that they finally make the playoffs. And Alex Rodriguez, obviously in real life, he made the playoffs late in his career. The World Series, excuse me. He made the World Series with the New York Yankees in 2009 and won. So that was his only World Series championship. Let's see if he could win it with the Mets here, and let's just see if he made the All Star team. So right here, no, it looks like actually yes he did. In 2006 he made the All Star team. So after missing it in 2005, he's back on track. He's 4 stars again and making the All Star team. So that's nice. He's got a high salary there, and he's playing well, batting 289. He's got 60 RBIs already, and look at his projected stats. They're all the way back up there. So definitely a bounce back year for him and the Mets. And let's just see if they make the playoffs. All right, so we have now reached the end of the season, and Alex Rodriguez hit 264, so definitely not as good as the other batting averages he's had, but he was back up there in RBIs with 107, and he hit 40 homers again, so those are up from last year. And you see right here, the Mets had a record of 91 and 71. That is good enough to make the playoffs. They led their division by 7 games here against the Braves there, so that's nice. The wild card had the Pittsburgh Pirates there and the Colorado Rockies. So that's good. And now we're gonna go straight into the playoffs and see how the Mets do. So facing against the Dodgers, up 2-0, 3-0. So they do advance, which is nice to see. In the playoffs, we got that sweep against the Dodgers, and let's see if we can carry it to the next round. All right. So we're gonna simulate the next round against the Cardinals in the championship series, 1-1, and come on. Let's 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, and they go to the finals. That is beautiful. They're in the World Series. Let's just go until the next round. Come on. Beat the World Series. Oh, 2-2, 3-2. And in 7 games, the Mets beat the Orioles in the 2006 World Series. So Alex Rodriguez gets his first MLB World Series championship in the year 2006, which is beautiful. So in real life, he got his first one in 2009, but here he got it in 2006. So you see Alex Rodriguez is on that team. Let's go look at his rosters and introductions. Let's look at where Alex Rodriguez stands there. He's 3.5 stars, and he's 31 years old. So in real life, his career went on until he's 41. I'm not sure if they're gonna make it that long in OTP, but it would be nice if he had a long career. He's Iron Man in terms of injuries, so that'll definitely help extend his career. But you see right there, that is nice to see him win his first World Series. Let's see if he could keep it going now. So after a 91 win season last year, the predicted standings have the Mets at 92 wins and winning the division again. So that would be nice to win it again and see if we can make another deep playoff run. Okay, so the season is now over, and the New York Mets ended up having an identical record to last season, 91 and 71, and they do make the playoffs as they win their division one more time. Let's see if they could repeat. But first, we are going to check Alex Rodriguez's stats. He had 3.5 star overall, and let's just look at his stats. So 263, which was a little behind last year. He had 107 RBIs and 38 homers, though. So he tied his RBIs from last season and had relatively the same amount of homers. So that's good, keeping his stats up. And as you can see right here, he was the 2006 World Series MVP last year, which is cool. MLB champion there. His accolades are starting to pile up like that, and he's also a 10-time All-Star. I think he made the All-Star team this year. Yes, he did. So 2007 All-Star as well. Those are definitely All-Star worthy stats. So every year except for 2005, I don't really know what happened that year. He had pretty good stats, but just apparently 35 homers and 91 RBIs and a 292 batting average isn't enough to win to win an All-Star spot. I don't know, but whatever. We made the playoffs. So that's cool. Let's look at the playoff tree, and we're gonna face the Diamondbacks in the first round. So let's go simulate this round and see if we win. All right, so 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, and we move on in 5 games against the Diamondbacks. Now, if you remember last year, we actually faced the Cardinals as well in the championship series, and we went to 7 games in that series. So let's see if we could come out of this one as well, or if they're gonna get their revenge. So it's one of them, 1-1 now, and we're up 2-3-1, and we're up 4-2. So now we are in the World Series again, and we're facing the Toronto Blue Jays, who won against Kansas City and Texas in 7. So let's see if we could finish it off here to win another World Series. 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, and we actually win back-to-back World Series for the Mets, and we win in 6 against the Blue Jays. So that is a perfect thing for Alex Rodriguez to win the World Series back-to-back, 2006 and 2007 World Series champion. So that is nice for us, as you can see. Great score at the end of the year, obviously, and here's the team that we won with. Definitely a World Series championship team. Where's Alex Rodriguez? I can't really. Oh, there he is. He had a really good season that year. He's a 4-star player at the age of 32, which is nice to see. And he is durable. He hasn't really had any injuries, so that is nice to see. So it seems like the Florida Marlins just put up a god squad this year. They're projected to go 101 and 61, so that's pretty good. New York Mets, though, were projected to go 89 and 73, so a little worse than last year. But A-Rod's Mets could still make the playoffs. I mean, 89 wins, even if we don't win the division, is still wildcard worthy, but we'll see what happens. It's also pretty crazy that after such a long playoff drought for Rodriguez, he suddenly became a back-to-back World Series championship. So definitely his legacy changed there. But yeah, we'll see what happens next now. Okay, so unfortunately, the New York Mets were 85 and 77, and it was not enough to make the playoffs or the wild card spot. So that's unfortunate, but at least he went back to back. Rodriguez did in the previous 2 seasons. Let's just look at his stats this season to see how he did. Right here, you can see, where is he? Where is Alex Rodriguez? Here, I'm just gonna search for him. Rodriguez. All right, he's still in the Mets, obviously. He's 4 stars. I don't know why I didn't see him there. And this season, he had 299 batting average. He had 115 RBIs and 35 homers. So definitely worthy of another All-Star appearance. You can see right here, 2008 All-Star. So other than 2005, he's been making them a lot. He's 33 now, still making the All-Star team. You can see the 299 batting average was a big boost from the last couple seasons. And yeah, definitely putting up better numbers. So he's consistently being a great player. He's obviously really healthy, Iron Man, as I mentioned before, and so he's pretty durable. And we'll see how much longer he'll last in the league, because I think he'll be able to last till 40 if he's playing like this. So in this simulation, the 2008 World Series ends up going to the Pirates. Okay, so 2009 was just a terrible year for Alex Rodriguez and the Mets. Now, obviously, in real life, he won it with the Yankees, the World Series in 2009. And in this simulation, the Yankees didn't even make the playoffs in 2009. It was the Blue Jays who won the AL East division. And right here in the NL East, the Phillies won the division, and New York Mets were 407, 66, and 96 on the season. So definitely a very competitive division here. As you can see, it was pretty tight up top. But obviously we didn't make the playoffs because just that's not a good enough record to make it. And let's just see how the playoffs end up, turning out here. So I'm just gonna sim to the end of the playoffs, and we'll see who ends up winning. So you see the Phillies and San Diego. San Diego ends up winning. We got the Pirates versus San Diego. Blue Jays against Padres, and the Blue Jays end up winning. Remember, we actually beat the Blue Jays in the World Series, I believe, in 2007. So there we go. The Blue Jays actually end up winning the World Series now in 7 games. So that's a bit of not a revenge because it wasn't against the Mets, but they do end up winning, which is good for them. So now we are in the off season, and we're gonna see what pickups we make and what we're projected to go next season. Now, last year was the first year since 2005 that Alex Rodriguez didn't make the playoffs in 2009, obviously, and he is now a free agent right here. He's 34 years old, so I'm not sure if he's going to get a good deal, but I think he should because he is a 4-star player, as you can see here, and he expects to be in the middle of the lineup. He's got 16 years of Major League service and definitely a veteran that most teams would want. So we're going to see if he stays with the Mets or if he ends up going to a different team. And history has repeated itself, or I should say, this is a look back in history. And Alex Rodriguez has actually signed with the Yankees in free agency. I cannot believe it. Now, obviously, he has said multiple times that he wished he played for both the Mets and the Yankees. He did play for the Yankees, obviously, in his career. That's where his best years were, and that's where he got his 2009 World Series championship. Now, after winning 2 World Series with the Mets, I'm not sure, if you want to leave that team, but obviously he wants to play for both New York teams, and I can understand after a 66 win season why he would want to leave. And let's just look at his contract to see. It looks like he's there for 4 years, so probably until he's about 38. I'm not sure if he's going to sign another contract after that, or that's going to be his final contract. He might even retire in the middle of his contract, depending on how he plays. But he's still 4 stars, so he could still contribute very well to an MLB team. And if we look at the standings here, let's look at the Yankees last season. They were 78 and 84, so it could definitely help them improve. And the Blue Jays won the world. They won the. I think they won the World Series last year, but they definitely made the playoffs, and they only needed 89 wins there. So the Yankees, they can actually take a step up there in that slightly weaker division than the one he was in before, and maybe make some noise there and make the playoffs. But anyways, I'm excited to see how this goes for Alex Rodriguez, and I'll see you at the end of next season. All right, so the season has officially ended, and the New York Yankees have made the playoffs. The Mets missed it, so obviously Alex Rodriguez is on the better team in New York. I don't know if he had the biggest part in that. Let's look at how he did this season. He was the second best player on the team, 3.5 stars. So definitely an all-around good team there. Because I didn't scroll up there. Okay, so yeah, they definitely have some great guys. They have Evan Longoria there too. They got Derek Jeter, Lucas Duda, Verlander's even on the team. They got Carlos Ruiz, and just a great team. So this is definitely my favorite to win the championship if that's what their team's looking like. You got a 35-year-old Alex Rodriguez putting up these numbers. He's hitting 256. He's got 21 homers and 85 RBIs. Now that's a little much of a dip. That's a huge dip actually from last season, but obviously he's aging. He's 35, and if he could contribute like that to a championship team, like that's still pretty good. So let's look at how the playoffs end up going for the New York Yankees. You see most pitching wins for Justin Verlander. Let's advance the next round and see how we do. So we're facing against the Texas Rangers here, who Alex Rodriguez actually played for in real life. We're up 1-0. Come on, let's close out this series here. 2-0 and 2-2, and it looks like I think we won 7-3 there. So it looks like we are going to win that series. I'm just going to go to playoff coverage and make sure we won. Yes, we did. All right, so we're moving on, and we're going to face off against Tampa Bay here. That's the next team. Let's advance the next round and see how we do. And so it's 3-2, and we move on to the World Series against the Houston Astros. All right, so now we are set to face the Houston Astros. Now, back then, the Houston Astros were in the National League, so you see, this is pre-cheating era. So, I don't know how to feel about them, but let's just beat them and, get Alex Rodriguez's third World Series. So let's simulate till the playoffs end. 1-1, 2-2, 3-2, and we beat the Astros. So the New York Yankees end up winning the World Series on the first year that A-Rod goes to this squad. So that's nice for him. He gets his third World Series compared to one in real life. Wins one with the Yankees and two with the Mets. He's still got a few years left in his contract, so we'll see if he could repeat just like he did with the New York Mets. 11 preseason predictions have the New York Yankees at 83 and 79 behind the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't know if we're going to win the division or maybe even make the wild card spot. We're going to have to see, but it is now the beginning of the 2011 season. So let's just get right into it. So after being projected to only win 83 games on the season, the New York Yankees have clinched the division, winning 98 games. I believe that is the best out of everyone in the American League. It is, and tied for the best in the MLB with the Cincinnati Reds, who also had 98 wins. So very good record for us there. 609 was the percentage, and let's hop into the postseason and try to win Alex Rodriguez's fourth ring. And if we end up winning, we're gonna have two. We're gonna have two rings on each team for Alex Rodriguez that he played for. Well, besides the Mariners. All right, so we're ready. The playoffs are gonna begin here. I'm gonna go to the. I'm gonna go. Oh, let's just start the playoffs here. And then once it starts, I'm gonna go to. Yeah, there we go. We're actually gonna face the Tampa Bay. We're down 1-0 here. Come on, let's come back here. Down 1-0, and let's win this. There we go. Oh, unfortunately, we actually get eliminated in the first round. So that's the first time that Alex Rodriguez made the playoffs, but did not win the World Series, which is kind of crazy to say that he had a perfect World Series streak every time he made the playoffs. So that ends right now. But fortunately, he does end up making the playoffs, and it was a 3-1, which is not that great because they were the favorites, but that's okay. And we're going to see how we do next season. I'm just going to go look at Alex Rodriguez's numbers to see how he did. And just before we finish, he's 3 stars now, and that's definitely not as good as it was before. But he hit 267, 102 RBIs, and 22 homers, so he actually improved from last year a lot. He had a better batting average, and he had more RBIs and homers, there. And he's 36 years old, so still putting up these crazy good numbers at the age of 36, which is unbelievable. You look at all of these accolades here. He was a 2011 All-Star, of course, and a 2010 All-Star, so still making the All-Star teams at the age of 36, which is absolutely insane. A-Rod is doing amazing in the simulation. I think this is actually a lot better than he did in real life. Oh my goodness, the Yankees just made MLB history, and I don't even know what to think of it. As you can see, the New York Yankees have clinched the playoffs in the division without a 500 record. They only won 79 games. They were 488. In fact, for a lot of the season, they were last in the division, as you see how close it was. And because it was so close, it was kind of spread out evenly, and not a single team in the division reached 500, which I actually did some research and found out that no team in a 162-game MLB season has ever made the playoffs without getting to 500. I think the Padres had the lowest one, and they made it with I think 506 record. So this is unbelievable MLB history made here. I'm not sure how long this playoff run is gonna last, but it's kind of cool that they were able to make it without even getting the 500. So there's another playoff appearance for Alex Rodriguez, and he has not missed it yet on the Yankees, even though this was kind of a wobbly year. And let's look at how he did here. Okay, so Alex Rodriguez is apparently kind of unhappy, very unhappy actually. He wants to be in the starting lineup, but he's not. He's only 2.5 stars right now, so definitely decreasing now as he is 37 years old. You could kind of expect that, and his salary is 25 mil, so I wouldn't be too unhappy, especially since his team made the playoffs. Obviously, barely made it though, and let's just see how his stats were. He hit 224 this season, only played 117 games, so I'm not sure why. I guess he didn't start many games because he is still Iron Man, doesn't really get injured, and you see he got 38 RBIs and 15 homers, which is still good, but definitely not all-star worthy. You see him miss the all-star game again, but after last year, he actually made it when he was 36, so that's pretty impressive. So as you can see, his career is kind of winding down now, but let's see if he could have one more good playoff run, or actually, he's under contract for another year after this, so he might retire or he might go for that option there. But yeah, there we go. So this could be his last year. Let's see if he could make a deep playoff run despite having a negative record in the season. Okay, here we are in the playoffs, and as you can see, we are facing the Oakland A's here in the division series. So let's go see how this ends up. So we're gonna simulate this round, and let's try to beat the Oakland A's. All right, and it looks like we're actually gonna get swept. Maybe we're down 2-0. Come on, we get swept in the first round. So you kind of expect that because they only won 79 games that season. But I mean, yeah, a playoff. That's two first round exits, but at least he made the playoffs. And now let's just simulate the rest of the playoffs and see who ends up winning the World Series. Looks like the Marlins are up, and it's Marlins against Indians. And looks like Marlins are going to come back from down 3-1 to win the World Series. So that's cool. 2012 World Series champions are the Miami Marlins. Now, obviously, there's a player option right now for A-Rod, so I'm not sure if he's going to stay. But right now he's in free agency. Well, he hasn't accepted his option yet. But as you can see, he might want to stay another year because you got a pretty good roster here. A bunch of four-star players. You got Jose Bautista on the team, who's a four-star player right now. You got Evan Longoria, Dustin Pedroia. You got all these guys in his prime. So maybe he wants to chase after another ring. But I'd understand if as he wears down, if he wants to retire on his own terms here this season. So we'll see what ends up happening in free agency. I'm super shocked by this decision. I thought he was either going to stay on the Yankees or retire, but Alex Rodriguez has signed with the Baltimore Orioles on a 1-year, $4.6 million contract. Good for him. He wants that money, but he really could have just accepted that player option and pretty much won a World Series there. But I don't know how good the Orioles are going to be. They're in the same division as the Yankees, which is kind of interesting. Let's look at the preseason predictions when they come out here, and it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening and how well the Orioles do, because I guess A-Rod thinks the Orioles have a chance at winning the World Series, because I don't know why he would go there otherwise, but definitely an interesting move there I wasn't expecting. So surprisingly enough, the preseason predictions have the Baltimore Orioles actually over the New York Yankees. They are projected to go second with an 87-75 record. So that's kind of interesting. I'm interested to see. It's a very close division again, as you can see. They might actually mess around and make the playoffs again. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so the Baltimore Orioles are actually eliminated from the playoffs. As you can see, they actually had a .540 record, and the Yankees had a almost as good season as last year, but didn't make the playoffs. We take a look at Alex Rodriguez's stats from this season. He was 38, and you can see he was very unhappy. He wanted to be in the starting lineup, and he's got 20 years exactly of major league service. So that's kind of cool. He's got 224 batting average, 12 RBIs, and 4 homers in 47 games. So definitely not even close to what he used to be averaging. This, I believe, is his last season because I think he wants to retire on his own terms, and I think this is the perfect time. He's 2.5 stars, and he's going to be a free agent after this season. So it's the off season after this, and he's going to be a free agent. So I believe he's just going to retire. But we're going to see. He might spend another year in Baltimore. He might go somewhere else to try to chase another ring. But in my opinion, I think he should retire. That's what I would do. And so if we look at the playoffs, it was actually the Seattle Mariners who won the championship this year. So that's their first ever World Series. That's kind of cool for them. Even though A-Rod left them in 2001, they still managed to win a championship overall, and that was in 2013. So that's cool for Mariners fans. And now we're just going to advance and see if A-Rod's going to retire or sign with a different team. Okay, so it looks like I'm not sure what's going to go on because it's free agency filings today. And as you can see, Alex Rodriguez is a free agent. He's got no team, and he's actually asking for $1.9 million on his contract. So I'm not sure he's going to get that much money. We're going to see what happens. All right, some really interesting news just popped up. So, three-star Alex Rodriguez, so I guess he improved a bit in the offseason. He's 38 years old, and he has signed a $1.3 million contract with the Seattle Mariners. Now, his contract is only lasting 1 year in 2014, and I think he's going for the ring because the Seattle Mariners are a team that not only did he play for before, but they actually won the World Series last year in 2013, if you remember. So now it's 2014, and he's trying to win another one with Seattle. Now, it's interesting to think, if I'm a Seattle fan, how do I think about this? Because Alex Rodriguez actually left the Mariners before, if you don't remember, to go play for the Mets. But now he's going back to the Mariners just so he can maybe win another World Series. So, I don't really know how to think about this if I'm a Mariners fan. But definitely a smart move if you're Alex Rodriguez, if you want to go chase another ring. So let's just look at this preseason predictions to see what the Mariners are projected to do right now. They're projected to go 92-70 and win their division. So yeah, Alex Rodriguez is definitely looking for that championship. Let's see if he'll get it. Okay, it wasn't even close. The Mariners decided to just completely destroy their entire division and the league. They were by far the best team. Actually, the Reds had 106 wins, but the Mariners finished with 107. They should be the favorites to make the World Series. I'm hoping that Rodriguez gets another championship. That would be his fifth, I believe. And let's just see what his stats were this season. Let's go see. Oh, he's actually a four-star player now at the age of 39. So how about that? 4 stars. He's happy. He's in the middle of the lineup on a championship roster. So that is crazy for a 39-year-old to be like that. So A-Rod definitely doing some great stuff right here. Let's see how his season was. 278 batting average, 36 homers, and 107 RBIs. That is insane. I cannot believe he just did that at the age of 39 years old. Hopefully he wins the World Series because I thought he was just going to be carried to a World Series here, but it looks like he's a key piece of this roster. So if I were a Mariners fan, I would not be upset at A-Rod if he was part of this World Series championship. So let's just go see what would happen if when the playoffs begin. So I'm going to simulate till the playoffs start. We're going to go here to playoff coverage, and we're gonna see what happens in the playoffs. So let's go to the next round here. Obviously, we're facing the wildcard team, which ends up being the A's. I think we faced them before in the playoffs, not as the Mariners though. So let's go to the next round and see. We're up 2-0, and come on, let's sweep them. Let's give them a good sweep here. We're up 2-0. Come on, let's close this out. Oh, it's 2-1. Come on, let's not blow it. It's 2-2, and we finally win. So that was a scare here because it took a lot longer than expected to win that series. And look who it is. It's the Baltimore Orioles, who A-Rod actually left before. They also got out in 5 in the first round. Let's see if it'll be a clean sweep for them or if they're going to give them troubles, the Orioles. So let's go to the next round. Come on. It's 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. And the Orioles come back from 3-1 to beat the Mariners. So I guess they're trying to get their revenge on A-Rod for leaving their squad after just 1 year. And let's see who ends up winning the World Series. So it is the Orioles who A-Rod left the season before. So that kind of sucks for him after chasing the World Series on the Mariners to end up losing against the team he left. But he might actually stay another year now, I'm thinking, because even though he's turning 40 next year, he's 4 stars and he's having a great series. He's having a great year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed longer. Let's just see what happens. It is now free agency, and I'm excited to see where A-Rod goes. He might go back to the Orioles, maybe. Just probably not. I'm just joking with you all. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens to him and if he's gonna get an extension. He's gonna resign. I don't know if he's going to go to a different team or retire. We'll find out soon. And it looks like he is going to switch teams again. He signed a $23 million deal with the Cleveland Indians. This is a 2-year deal. I think it's a player option right there. So yeah, definitely a crazy deal for Alex Rodriguez at the age of 39 to be making $23 million. He signed through 2016, as you can see. And in real life, he retired in 2016 at the age of 41. So definitely one of the longest serving players here. 21 years of Major League service, as you can see right there. And he's got that Iron Man. He barely ever gets injured. If you look at his history and you go to injuries, He's only had only day-to-day injuries. He's never had a worse injury than a week long. There we go, day-to-day for 1 week. He had a strained forearm, but that was in 2007. And as you can see right here, he's been winning lots and lots of awards and accomplishments. So yeah, definitely trying to win another World Series here with the Cleveland Indians. I'm wondering how they did last season. Let's go to standings and see. So Cleveland actually made the playoffs. So he's just trying to go all the playoff teams. He played for the Orioles, who made the playoffs. He played for the Seattle Mariners, who probably should have won the World Series there because they were the favorites at 108 wins. And then now he's going to the Indians, who won the Central Division. So I'm excited to see if he makes the playoffs again. He's just looking for those championships now. Let's see if he gets another one. All right, so I definitely wasn't expecting this. The Cleveland Indians missed the playoffs. They have a record of 75 and 87. As you can see, they made the playoffs in the last 3 years, but once A-Rod came to the team, I don't know what happened, but they just didn't make it. It looks like a pretty good team to me here, but actually, it's not the same strength that they were before. I think they lost a good player there because Alex Rodriguez is 3 stars I could see right here, which is definitely not as good as it was before. He had 247, so step back. He had 90 RBIs and 28 homers, which is still really, really good. But obviously, he wasn't an all-star yet. He was actually an all-star last season, I forgot to mention, against on the Mariners when he had that great run at the age of 39. He's now 40 years old, and he's got one more year left on his deal. I don't know if he's going to take the option. I believe he will, though, because it's $23 million, and who doesn't want $23 million? So let's just see what happens there. Let's see if he goes to a different team or if he stays with the Indians. So the Dodgers win the World Series in 2015. Okay, it looks like A-Rod, being 40 years old, is going to stay on the Cleveland Indians, which I respect. He's not going to go chase another ring. I mean, he's going to try his best to win this season, but obviously 3 stars. This is probably going to be his last year of his career. In real life, he also retired at 41, and this is going to be the 2016 season, so he'll be spending about the same amount of time as he did in real life in the majors, which is kind of cool if he retires after this season. He might even go a little longer, but I guess he would retire after this year is over. All right, so we have now reached the end of the 2016 season, probably A-Rod's last season. He's 41 years old, 23 years. He has a great morale right now, making 19 mil. He's in the starting lineup, which is cool. He's played 151 games this season. Let's see his stats. So he actually got a boost in average. He got a 273 batting average with 123 RBIs and 31 home runs this season. I think that's all-star worthy. Did he make the all-star team? No, he did not. But I would say that's an all-star all-star stat line right there. So I'm kind of surprised by that. But definitely, I think he could actually go more years in the MLB if he's putting up those numbers. Let's just see. So Cleveland got a Z beside their name. They are actually tied for the division, which means that they're going to have to play a tiebreaker against the Royals. So let's just simulate that game and see what happens. Let's see what happens here in this. I think we're gonna make the wild card anyways, but we lose. So it looks like Kansas City's gonna win, but we make the wild card game as the top dog here in the wild card, and Oakland Athletics are going to be the team we face in the wild card. So let's see what happens here. I'm gonna go to the next round here and see who wins here. It will be the Cleveland Indians or the Oakland A's. It will be, come on, it'll be the A's. So unfortunately, that'll cut our playoff hopes and dreams short in 2016. Let's see who wins the World Series. And so the Texas Rangers get their first ever World Series against the Diamondbacks. So that's kind of cool for them. So after such a good season with the Indians, it looks like Alex Rodriguez, as a free agent right now, is demanding $12 million for his contract. I'm not sure how much he's going to get or if he's just going to retire, but that's pretty crazy how he's just immortal like that and he just wants to keep on playing baseball. I'm literally laughing right now. I don't know what to think, but Alex Rodriguez is back on the New York Yankees. He went around and bounced around to so many different teams after winning a couple World Series with the Yankees and 2 with the Mets, and now he's back on the Yankees at the age of 41, turning 42 this season. So definitely his career is going longer than it did in real life, and let's see how this season goes. It's 2.5 stars coming into the year. Okay, I've simulated to the All-Star break, and I just realized A-Rod only has 3 championships, not 4. I was mistaken. He only won 1 with the Yankees, so he could win another one with the Yankees here, but he's very unhappy, as you can see. They're 50 and 39. Oh, sorry, those are the Indians. I didn't actually leave the team. I got to switch that up in a second. I will. But here we go. He's unhappy. He's expected to be in the starting lineup. I guess he's not. But let's see what happens. So he's only played 31 games. He's only projected to play 57. So definitely not playing every game. He's only hitting 198, 7 RBIs, 2 homers. I think this is going to be his last year. But let's just see how the Yankees are doing. So the Yankees are actually 43 and 45. They still got a chance. They could make a wild card spot even. So I wouldn't count them out yet, but they're gonna turn. They have to turn up after the All Star break if they want to do something here. I'm sure A Rod's kind of hitting himself over leaving the Orioles after they won the championship, and they've been making the playoffs a bunch of times as the number 1 seed in the AL East. So definitely a mistake to leave that team. I don't know if he was required to leave or he did it on his own, but definitely a mistake there. But here we go. He's on the Yankees, and let's just see how the rest of the season goes. Okay, so unfortunately for A-Rod and the Yankees, he ended up missing the playoffs. 74 and 88 was the record, so that sucks for him. Unfortunately, he doesn't make the playoffs that season. I'm not sure if he's going to retire after this season. I'm pretty sure he will. Didn't have the best numbers, so let's just see what happens. And interestingly enough, the Houston Astros win the 2017 World Series against the Diamondbacks. So we have now reached the end of A-Rod's career in this sim. If you got to this point, thank you so much for watching. Now, as you can see, he had a longer career than in real life, actually. Real life, he retired in 2016, as I mentioned before. And as you can see, he retired at age 42, so 1 year older than real life. And I wasn't really expecting that because, like in OTP, they have their computer simulation, and it's programmed to make players retire maybe in their mid 30s, maybe late 30s. But they made A-Rod retire at 42, so that's pretty realistic to have such a durable career. Now he did end up switching teams a lot in the last few seasons. As you can see, he went to Baltimore, back to Seattle, Cleveland, and then back to New York. But he had a pretty good career. As you can see, he is a 7-time Player of the Week, 6-time Batter of the Month, 2-time MVP, 11-time best hitter at position, 1-time playoff series MVP, 3-time championship winner, 15-time All-Star. So that's definitely a great resume. I think it was actually our first simulation that was better than in real life. So thanks to everyone that watched, and I'll see you next time.